As a mage, use your magical essences and items to build artifacts, use their powers, and command dragons in Res Arcana. Welcome to Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Res Arcana is a card drafting hand management game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. It's designed by Tim Lehman, who also designed a game you might be familiar with called A Race for the Galaxy. It's published by Sandcastle Games, a division of Asmodee, and they sent us this copy to review. Let's look at the components. There's places of power, cards, tokens, chips, along with a nice tray, and here's a look at the insert. During setup, you'll place out the places of power, monument cards, and magic items. If it's your first game, there's a player setup for your first game. Otherwise, each player will be dealt 2 mages and they choose one. Then give 8 artifacts and draw 3. There's also a variant where players can draft the artifacts, and players will start with 1 of each resource. Players will take an action per turn, and everyone will continue to take turns until all players have passed for that round. At the beginning of the round, players activate the collect abilities, basically taking the resources shown on the cards. You could place an artifact by paying the cost in the upper left-hand corner of the card from your hand and place it in your tableau. You could discard an artifact from your hand for a gold. You could purchase a monument. They all cost 4 gold, so you could take one from the 2 face-up cards or the top of the deck. You could purchase a place of power by paying its cost. You could use a power from one of your straightened cards. Many of the cards instruct you to turn the card in order to activate its ability. Now this is the heart of the game, trying to get the right cards into your tableau that synergize well together in an effort to get points. You're trying to get the most points. Now, the game will be over at the end of the round when someone has 10 points. But just because you have 10 points doesn't mean you automatically win. It's just the trigger. So whoever has the most points will be the winner. Some of the artifact cards are worth points, and the monuments too. Even the first player to pass in a given round gets the first player marker, which is worth a point. The places of power also give points, and many can give you even more points if you can get the right resources on the cards. There are 40 artifact cards, and each player has a deck of 8 cards, so every game will be a little different since you never get more artifacts in the game. But you can get other types of cards, like the monuments, that have similar abilities as the artifact cards. There are also magic items in the game. You draft one at the beginning of the game, and then when you pass, you exchange it with a new one. They grant you powers that you can activate during a round. The game flows very well. At the beginning of the round, you're going to collect your resources, then take your actions, like playing cards, and at the end of the round, once everyone passes, you'll see if anyone has 10 or more points, and if no one does, then you start a new round. Until the end of the game triggers. Now there is some player interaction. Maybe someone gets a place of power, or a monument that you might want. Now there are some attack cards as well. Usually it makes other players lose resources, but there are cards that can react to these kinds of attacks. There is a lot of replayability with all the different cards. And there is a little bit of variability too with the different mages that come in the game. You have the Transmuter, the Duelist, the Artificer, the Seer, the Witch, the Necromancer, the Healer, the Druid, and the Scholar. This feels like an engine building game where you're collecting cards and putting them in your tableau to work together, and I like engine building games. It's right up my alley. Now there wasn't any new game mechanic or new amazing gameplay for Res Arcana, but it felt really good. It felt like I was sitting in a very comfy armchair, and I had a really good experience with it. The game has good components, and I like the illustrations on the cards. So if you enjoy engine building games like I do, then check out Res Arcana from Sandcastle Games, and we would love for you to subscribe to Tantrum House.